Welcome to another Genshin Impact video. Today we're gonna take a look at Lauma, the newest 5-star character and also our first Nod-Krai character. And yeah, Nod-Krai so far has been amazing. I've been really enjoying it. I've been basically just going around the region with Lauma, farming all the materials for her, and it's amazing. Like, Nod-Krai is peak. I haven't even played the Archon quest yet, but I already know that it's gonna be peak. But yeah, in this video, I want to test Lauma, so yeah, let's not waste any time and take a look at my Lauma build, at what I have been able to achieve on this first day of Nod-Krai. And yeah, her most important stat is of course Elemental Mastery. I was able to reach over 1000 EM, which is pretty nice, and I don't think we really need much more than that. I think 1000 is probably enough. And my Lauma also has a bunch of energy recharge. Basically, EM and energy recharge are the stats you want to mainly aim for her. But I also gave her a bit of crit, because she can crit with her skill, which does Lunar Bloom damage. And I think that damage can actually be pretty good if it crits. And yeah, she's also already friendship level 3, because I used her while farming her on materials. So I'm not going into the showcase completely blind. But during the farming, of course, she wasn't fully built yet. So this is basically my first time trying out with a proper build. But yeah, let's take a look at the weapon now. I'm using the new Nod-Krai craftable weapon, Black Mirror Lantern, which is basically made for Lauma. It has Elemental Mastery as its substat, and it increases Bloom damage and Lunar Bloom damage. It's just perfect for her. And it's free. And as for the artifacts, I'm of course using one of the new Nod-Krai artifact sets, the one that is specifically made for her. And Lauma is a character where you want as much EM as possible, so you usually want to go for triple EM on the Sands, Goblet and Circlet. But EM, Sands and Circlets are actually the rarest artifacts. In case you didn't know, EM only has a 4% chance to be the main stat on a Circlet, and only 2.5% on Goblets. It's really, really unlikely. So my plan was to just try to get an EM Sands and then create an EM Goblet or Circlet with Sanctifying Elixirs and use an off-piece Circlet or Goblet. And then, of course, a Flower and Feather on set. But yeah, as you can see, that's not really what happened, because I actually got a little bit lucky and managed to get an EM Goblet, which, like I already said, is the rarest artifact, basically. EM Goblets are incredibly rare, and I not only got one with EM, but also energy recharge and crit. And then it proceeded to roll almost exclusively into HP, but that's fine because it's still a EM Goblet. So I'm not gonna complain about that, especially not on day 1 of Nod-Krai. Already having an EM Goblet, that is awesome. And thanks to that, I was able to use a different off-piece, which ended up being the Flower, because I actually got a Circlet with crit rate and energy recharge and EM in the substats, and I already had pretty much 1000 EM, so I was like, do I really need an EM Circlet? Maybe I should just use the crit rate one that I got. Which was especially useful because I didn't get a single good Flower, actually. Even though Flowers and Feathers are supposed to be the easiest artifacts to get, I didn't get a single good one on Lauma's set. So yeah, I'm using an off-piece here with both crit stats and ER and Elemental Mastery. And then this is my Feather, this is the Sands, and I already showed the Goblet and the Circlet. So yeah, those are my artifacts. Kinda crazy how that went. How I got an EM Goblet and then this crit rate Circlet. But you know, it kinda works out. There's obviously still some room for improvement, but for a day 1 build, I think it's pretty good. Constellation is of course 0, and the talents are at 2, 6, and 7. I wasn't quite able to get them all to level 9 yet, because of all the farming I had to do for her Ascension mats, her weapon Ascension mats, her artifacts and stuff. Yeah, I had to use a lot of Fragile Resin. I think I actually used more Fragile Resin on this one day than on any other day before. But yeah, that's my Lauma. So now, let's put her in a full team and see what she can do. And of course, one character that I definitely want to try her with is my C6 Nilou. She's my only limited C6 character. Yeah, basically ever since I found out that Lauma's bloom buffs work with Nilou's enhanced blooms, I was like, I have to play them together. I have to. As a C6 Nilou haver, Lauma was a must pull. But my usual Nilou team looks like this. And this always worked really well. Kokomi was the main driver here, and Corley and Lumine were here for off-field Dendro, of course. And also Lumine is holding the Deepwood Memories to decrease Dendro resistance, and Corley is holding Instructor to give some EM to the entire team. And yeah, I think the one I'm gonna replace here for Lauma is Corley, because Lauma's artifact set also does kind of the same as Instructor. And on top of that, Lauma of course gives a bunch more buffs. And I don't really want to lose Deepwood Memories Also, Lumine's offbeat Dendro is a bit more consistent than Collei's. So yeah, as much as I like Collei, she's the one who's gonna get replaced. So this is what my Lauma team is gonna look like. My Lauma Nilou team, I should say. Because these two are the core of the team. I can't wait to see how much damage all these blooms are gonna do. But actually, one thing I should probably do before I start here is switch Nilou's weapon to a signature weapon. Because I'm actually using Nilou as a vape TPS most of the time. Since she is C6, so she has a lot of crit and stuff. And I just really like vape Nilou. But yeah, now she looks a little bit more like a Bloom DPS with almost 70k HP. I mean, my usual Nilou build also works fine in Bloom. But for this showcase, I want her to be a proper Bloom Nilou and not a vape Bloom hybrid. Okay, so let's go to Masanori now in Inazuma and see how this goes. And I'm actually gonna go in with the Collei version of the team first to show you what that's like. And, you know, then we have like a before and after comparison. Before Lauma and after Lauma. But yeah, let's just apply some Hydro, use Nilou's stuff, then trigger reaction with Collei. And as you can see, the blooms do about 30k, 34k there. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, of course, 30k, it doesn't sound like much. But with how many blooms get triggered, as you can see, Masanori was dead in a very short time. And I didn't use Collei's Burst, which also, you know, triggers a ton of blooms. So basically, yeah, this team can do hundreds of thousands of damage in a very short time. It's already pretty good. But with Lauma, of course, it's gonna be even better. So let's switch Collei out now for our new 5-star Dendro character. My first 5-star Dendro character, besides Lumine, I guess, but she doesn't really count. Oh, and I guess Tenari, but he's not built on this account. Anyway, let's go back in now. And we should probably try to trigger the blooms with Lauma, since she has the most elemental mastery in this team. I haven't really built any of my other characters with EM, because I feel like with Nilou C2, there's not really a need for that. The blooms do enough damage even if the characters don't have like 1000 EM. But with Lauma, who wants to be built with EM, and now does have over 1000, we obviously want to try to trigger as many blooms as possible with her. So yeah, let's just apply this. Let's not use Nilou for now. I just want to see normal blooms with Lauma, how much they do. Masanori Hyperbloom then. Okay, 9000 there, I think. 9000 again. Okay, yeah, almost 10k on the normal blooms. That is not bad. That was 17k there. Yeah, that won't crit. Because, of course, Lauma can make blooms crit. So how much does her hold skill do, the Lunar Bloom damage? Let's see. Okay, that was 25k, I think. And that wasn't even a crit. Okay, let's try this again. 28k this time, but still didn't crit. Lauma, I built you with some crit rate so that you could crit your skill. Oh well, let's just try this again. Let's also use Lumine this time to decrease Dendro resistance. And let's see. There we go, 63k on the skill. That is actually not bad. Considering that she's supposed to mainly be a Bloom character, that you can actually do some pretty decent damage with her skill as well, is really nice. But now it is time to use Nilou and Lauma together. Let's see, use the burst to buff blooms. 40k there, I'm seeing 40k blooms. There was a 78k. That was a crit. I love that blooms can crit with her. I've never had C2 Nahida. I know C2 Nahida can do the same. She can also make blooms crit, but I've never had her. I only have Nahida on my alt account, and she's only C0 there. So, yeah, this is the first time I can actually make blooms crit, and it's amazing. Seeing a bloom do almost 80k damage, oh, that makes me happy. As a C6 Nilou haver, that feels great. But Masanori died too fast, so let's do this again. And this time, a proper rotation from the beginning. So, let's start with Nilou's skill. Then I guess we do this, use Kokomi, and 83k there on the skills, 70k blooms, yes, 70k again. Seeing 70k, I'm seeing some 30ks. And he's already dead. Oh my god, that was like 10 seconds. Masanori, you are too weak. But the thing is, the other boss I usually fight in these showcases when Masanori isn't enough is Kongamato, but he has Dendro resistance, so he's not really the best boss to fight with a Bloom team. So who else could I fight? Maybe the field generator? I don't think that thing has any big resistances, except maybe against Geo. Yeah, let's try fighting the field generator. Let's see how fast we can defeat this thing. So once again, start with Nilou. Let's use Lauma here. It was 50k. Let's use her burst. And yeah, 106k. I think I saw 106k Bloom there. And 92k there on the skill. Oh my god. It's dead. It's dead. It didn't last much longer than Masanori. 100k Bloom and almost 100k on Lauma's skill with the Lunar Bloom damage. That is actually great. And I used Kokomi as a driver there because I'm used to doing that, but I should probably get used to using Lauma as my driver because she has so much more EM. So I want her to trigger most of the blooms. But yeah, that 100k bloom, that was definitely one that Lauma triggered with the 1000 EM. Wow, yeah, okay. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I mean, that's what I expected, right? I didn't expect it to be bad, but I'm still so happy with how well this works, how easy this team is to use, and, you know, just having another great teammate for my C6 Nilou. I couldn't have asked for more. So with that being said, this video is not over yet, because there is something else that I wanna try besides Bloom, because Lauma of course doesn't just buff Bloom reactions, she also buffs Hyperbloom. So let's try a team with another one of my favorite characters, Kuki Shinobu. And yeah, if we're using Lauma as a driver here, then we need some off-field Hydro, so Yelan could be good. And then we're gonna use as our last character, maybe just keep Lumine for the Deep Wood Memory, the Dendro Rest thread. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. And I'm gonna put Lauma on 2 here actually because I'm used to having Yelan on 3. Okay, let's go with this team. Okay, let's do a normal Hyperbloom first without Lauma buff. And that does 32k. Okay. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, Hyperbloom, of course, is one of the best reactions in the game. But now if I just use Lauma's Burst and then apply Hydro again and do Hyperbloom, still 32k. Shouldn't her Burst buff the Hyperblooms? Am I doing something wrong? I mean, if I use the skill first, I get Moonsong. I didn't do that, but we get 18 stacks of Pale Hymn even if we don't have Moonsong. So it should buff it, right? Yeah, will be increased based on Lauma's Elemental Mastery. How much is the increase actually? For Hyperbloom, it's 416% of Elemental Mastery. So like 4,000. Didn't really see that there. Let's try this again. Let's actually use Lumine's Burst to decrease Dendro resistance. And now, stop blocking Masanori. Oh, he blocked the entire time. Are you kidding me? Let's try this again. Use a burst. Generate bloom. Do hyper bloom. Okay, 38k there. Finally, I got it to work. Okay, so it increased from 32k to 38k. That's actually pretty nice. Pretty good increase, especially if you factor in the crits, because the Hyperblooms also can crit now thanks to Lauma. So then the increase is gonna be even better. So it definitely works, but now let's do a proper full rotation. So first I have to get my bursts back again. Okay, let's do this. Oh yeah, we're doing so much damage. 74k there on the Lunar Bloom. The Hyperblooms are also doing pretty good damage, and he's already dead. Yeah, so same as with the Nilou Bloom team, the Hyperbloom team also just makes short work of Masanori. And this is a way more free-to-play friendly team, because you don't need a C2 or above Nilou, you just need Kuki Shinobu. And Yelan, I guess, but my Yelan is actually a pretty free-to-play Yelan because she's using a 4-star weapon and is C0. And in case you don't have Yelan, then don't worry, she's gonna have a banner soon. After Lauma's banner is gone, there is a Yelan banner. So considering that Shinobu is on Lauma's banner, you could just get a Hyperbloom team, a really good functioning Hyperbloom team. If you roll for Lauma here, get a Shinobu, and then roll for Yelan on the next banner. That might actually be something worth considering for newer players, because Hyperbloom is really good, and Lauma in general is also really good for any Bloom reaction. And Yelan, of course, also a really good support. I think it's actually worth it for newer players to go for Lauma here and then go for Yelan on the next one. But, well, let's go back to the field generator now and defeat that one with Hyperbloom now. Okay, let's go. Get Yelan's first, there we go. And do damage. Yep, already halfway there. It just works. Whoops. Lauma almost died there, and oh, I used the burst, but it was already dead. So yeah, it was like 1.5 rotations, I would say. I had to start a second rotation at the end. So it wasn't quite as fast as the Nilou team, but it was almost on the same level. Also, Shinobu almost died. I think she only survived, yeah, she has 1 HP. She only survived because I have C6 Shinobu. Anyway, that's it for my Lauma showcase. I gotta say, I'm really happy with her. I think Lauma is an incredible character. She is the Bloom support now. Like, if you want to play Bloom or any of its variants, then you should pull Lauma. She's actually great. So yeah, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more Genshin Impact and other gacha content. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.